Hello. I wanted to say thank you so much for taking this call. This is Lisa Luciard here in Texas, United States of America. I'm a political analyst, politician for the politicians, and I'm a science philosophy, and I have many books and bestseller author. I'd love to participate in your contemplation and understanding of our restoration of America under our incoming president, President Trump, and the team. And I wanted to say that I've been writing books about America before 2007 and talking about microplastics and poverty and ecosystems and so forth. And I have an article in 2011 that I wrote that what's happening today in my book, Our Need to Give to the World. But recently I have two books called God First, America, Our Miracle. So in God First, that's where America is going to be our miracle. And also in God's Power, America, Save Our Legacy. We have a covenant, a Continental Congress in 1774, that we have a covenant. We wrote together a prayer that we were going to give our country to God to protect us, just like the Israelites have given their life and their country to the God of Abraham. The same with us, but us and Jesus Christ, the new covenant. So I wanted to tell you that there's the restoration that we're talking about, that Vivek was voted in under our great president, President Trump, that he's going to negotiate and also restructure and see what needs to be corrected under the government spending with our great Elon Musk. And I did write about this in my book, In God's Power, America, Save Our Legacy. And I wanted to say that this is something, it's not an argument. It's not trying to bring down the present government and, take out all the swamp and all whatever that even means. Really, we are here to correct something that over a period of time that has become, number one, antiquated. The government has become antiquated because of the rise of technology and information systems and globalization of geopolitical powers and many other facts, which I'll be getting to. And then also, so it's antiquated, number one. Number two, it hasn't kept up with the changes of everyday life, of what has changed in the world. And number three, it has become very against the foundation of America itself, because we are a Judeo-Christian nation that has accepted all people from all lands. We're the mother of all nations. And Judeo-Christian, as I said, when you look at the definition, it uses the ethics of Nicodemean ethics, the cardinal ethics, the cardinal virtues, and so forth and so on. It uses the classic of the purest form of truth for all humanity, not on one side. That's really what America is made of. And that's why everyone was able to come here, because of the Judeo-Christian ethics is an ethics that puts the people first in the purest justice. So I wanted to tell you that it's not something to argue about at all, and that we're trying to take away this and take away that. It does need correction because by the facts. As I told you, I have a coin chart of what happened to America and what changes we need to consider, that the changes have been made throughout the world. And so this is what's caused a lot of our problems in America and the world itself. So let me repeat. My name's Lisa Luciard, and I've written two books recently in the last week or two, In God's Power, America, Save Our Legacy. And then my other book is God First, America, Our Miracle. And I wanted to say that this coin page, to sum it up, to make it very easy, even though it is complex, but when truth is revealed, it doesn't have a equation that's so complicated that you don't understand when you have a specialist, expert, and even lay people. Of course, the things in between, how to do it, you would have to get an expert, but the general understanding of a solution is right there in front of your face, and it shows the truth of facts. So here are the facts. Number one, we have technology and information system that's very high. The paradigm of power, the paradigm of light is very high. Just think of very light, high power of very tall light of technology information systems. Then we have another paradigm of light, a pillar of light, and of the equation of the light of the law and regulations is short because it didn't come to terms with technology and all the changes of the information systems. And then we have the pillar of light that's very tall of geopolitical changes of life, all globalization, assimilation of cultures, different cultures, business transactions, life, all different cultures, everyday life is very high. It doesn't end because that's related to God. So it continues all the way up, and it reaches infinity without stopping because we have connection with God, the higher power. That is by the fact of the relationship that the church is still living in even by witnesses of spiritual experiences. And then there's a pillar of the government is very, very low. It's not so, the pillar is not so high because they weren't able to protect the people. And by the fact of the way our America has deteriorated in these last even 4 to 8 years, because these times, there's only been a couple Republican presidents this last 8 years, correct? It was Obama, and now we have Biden. And they actually have a tough situation, that they're in a position in our America at the time when there's globalization, geopolitical powers. And they didn't take it, unfortunately, consideration. And they wanted to make a different America, not a Judeo-Christian nation America with the foundation of our prayer of the Continental Congress of 1774 that we dedicate ourselves to God, the God of Abraham. And also the Constitution was reflective of that. That is reflected of that prayer where we have a covenant where we put God's purpose and glory and truth first, and he will protect us. And that is actually also in the Constitution when we follow, that's reflected in the Constitution. That's also covenant when we follow the directions of the highest truth of justice. We are protected. We're supposed to be, but under these regimes, these political elite communists under the Democratic parties, the leaders, not the lay people, but the leaders, unfortunately, went away from that. That's not saying so seriously. I'm just saying it very, very simply. It's in my book in a more stronger, not judgmental way, but assessment. But we are going to think very jovial. We're going to think and work very jovial. And we're going to work very optimistic with, and we are going to have solutions and understanding on how to fix the issues, because we need to realize that this is a situation that has happened because of the time, the Aristotle categories, if you know what that means: time, place, temperature, attitude, all those different type of things that happen, that changes, and that's history. What happens over history of time? Sometimes things need to be changed because other things come in that change what exists. Do you understand? So we have an America, and other things came into our country that changed the way of our life. And so that wasn't good. For example, then on the bottom of the chart is the 9 cartels that are controlled, billionaire cartels, and some are good and some are bad in different levels. But China is the cartel that we have to deal with, that has brought us down in many ways and brought war on us in our own country. A silent war on drugs, a silent war on economy, a silent war on war itself, bringing in people, a silent war on technology, so many things. It's in my book because I am a geopolitical specialist. A Rise to God's Truth in 2020, I wrote about and listed things of China that we need to deal with. And from 2016 on, I've been working in speaking and working in social media, in presentations about, in discussions with the issues internationally, geopolitically. And recently, unfortunately, again, my Lincoln was taken off right before the presidential election, with also breaking my computer, and many of the things on both sides were what I was talking about, how to solve the issues. But that's okay. That was fixed, because we need to, whatever it takes to correct our America. And I'm so grateful that my ideas have lined up with President Trump's ideas, which is beautiful, and that's what it's supposed to be for. But my name is Lisa Luciarden, and I have asked for these demands. I call them divine commands because I do pray, but I also think logically, because prayer is logic and God is logic, and I study, and this is my calling, but I'm also a specialist in it because over a period of time it shows in my work and my exposure to all the different types of understanding of how to run a country and how it's related today in this technological world. And then we also have the World Health Control, World Economic Control, that's controlled more than ever because we have an imbalance of the way our funds exist. Who has the most funds? These world power people, and also a handful of elite communists that are billionaires. But I believe that we have enough billionaires that want to keep our country free. But we need to work together. We need to work together, for example, with Mr. Fink, with BlackRock. He's supposed to be the most wealthy. He's quiet about it, and I pray for him and speak about him all the time. Under BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, he needs to work with us to bring our America back, even though he's supposed to be owning so much of in 2030, he's supposed to be owning so much of the real estate across the world. But still, he'll have enemies of these geopolitical powers such as China and maybe Russia, even though we want Russia to be our friend and come together with Russia. But there's also still ISIS could always come up in Iran, but we also need to bring peace with them. But that's a subject too, that we need to realize that war doesn't need to be violent anymore. It could be exchanged by commodities, by gifts, by exchange of negotiation. And this is related to much of the government spending is the military. So I believe that we could, even though we need to prepare, we always have to be prepared and have a strong army. I believe it's by hindsight, but we can negotiate war with gifts and commodity and exchange of business. And because there's so much development of different types of business nowadays, and technology is a business itself, that we could work together on giving these gifts to each other to stop war. And that's just one example of how we could help America, and one example where it's not something that Elon Musk and our great President Trump and our great Elon Musk and great Vivek, they want to destroy the government. They want to assess it. As I stated in 2019, I stated that all offices needed to be checked, and they need to be negotiated and see where there's corruption, where there's change, a business that's not right, and also to revisit what needs to be corrected. In 2019, I'll never forget, in La Cañada, the park up the street on the Angel's Crest, they have a beautiful park with the American flag, and I used to go there all the time and pray and then write. That was one of the divine messages. And I call it divine messages. I know it may not be politically right, but many people are believers in America, around the world, and they believe that God gives them the information. But that's what I say. But These are messages of critical thinking and messages of long study and proven facts. So that was in 2019. So that I asked to check every office and assess every office. But it's not something, and I'll repeat for the 10th time, and we need to understand, it's not something to argue about. It's not something to get upset about. It's something that is forced to be corrected due to the position that we are in the time of history and how we are in the midst of all these changes. But because the divine nature of life still exists on Earth, and the sun comes up every day, and the moon is high. The sun stretches across the world to give light to the moon and the harvest and so forth, and we're still living. We have the ability to correct it, and for me, it is the God of Abraham. Like in Israel, like Netanyahu believes in the God of Abraham, I do too. And he is the old covenant, and I have the new covenant in Jesus Christ. And that's how we work together to come and bring our America, because there's still a lot of Jews that own America. It used to be in 2016 when I wrote my first published book, but I wrote many papers before that. My published book, Our Need to Give the World, in 2016, I think the Jews owned about 60 or 70% of the United States, but then over a period of time, the Europeans have bought our country over. And they need to integrate. I believe they need to integrate and give back to America in a philanthropic way. Like Soros, he is European, but he gives it back in a liberal way that wants to destroy the freedoms of others. And he's such a beautiful man about what God blessed him with, how he made, he gives so much funding to other people, other funding, even though he made his money when we know that when Britain lost, the pound went down. That's where he made a lot of his money, Soros. And I pray for him that he'll come to realize that we need to keep our America free so other people could have freedom like he did and his beautiful family. These are very important aspects. And so we need to ask these elite communists to come over on our side and continue. And that's what I asked. I have a song, Let's Meet in the Center of the Bridge. And that's one of my songs. I'm a singer also. And also in 2020, A Rise to God's Truth, I wrote to ask the Democrats to come together with the Republicans. And there it is. There it is. RFK is there with the health. And I talked about the health years ago. In 2014, I wrote a book on Dr. Beck's protocol with the study of Garrison's method. Dr. Beck was an alternative medicine genius, physicist from USC, and he had other forms of way to cure diseases, but they did kill him. And then Garrison also, in the European country, he also had the cure of diseases through nutrition. And I wrote a book on that, and I've been studying much about the pharmaceuticals and promoting them. No pharmaceuticals that are not proven by the fact of taking care of the people properly, and they change over time. They need to be assessed. And no vaccinations. I demanded that at the time they're putting the vaccinations, that I did get in trouble for that. But we need to come together and realize we could fix this America. We could restore her. We have all the things we need out on our fingertips, but we need to come in peace, in direction of love and understanding. It is antiquated because it hasn't kept up with technology. Obviously, why would they blame? It's not off to say this, but why would they blame our beautiful police Chauvin murdered? They said they murdered Floyd. He did not murder Floyd. Floyd had heart fibrillation. He was a drug addict, and he was on pharmaceuticals. So anybody that's heart fibrillation couldn't even run a 50-yard dash, and his heart is not working well. So by him putting pressure on his neck, Floyd's neck, he didn't have a chance, in a sense, more than a normal person did without these medical problems. Floyd had 13 counts against him. And we're not assessing all these new things in the world, what's happening, that we need to assess. And so we need to set the social issues for the children. Many of the children are lost and gone and used for pagan rituals and under scientific study and so forth, and abuse and trafficking. There's so many things that have changed in more volume and also more treacherous against the human person. So that is antiquated, and also it is injustice against the people. And then on the other hand, it doesn't reflect our Judeo-Christian nation. And then also the woke system has developed. And also they haven't kept up with the geopolitical powers and technology, as I said, those statements. So that chart, as I told you, of technology and regulations, one pillar of light, and then it's very tall. Regulations and laws is very short, hasn't kept up with things. That's why a government needs to be reassessed. And then in the center is the divine law of life, the law, the right to law, the right to truth, the right to life. And then there's a long pillar of all the people, of themselves, of humanity, of all geopolitical issues, culture, traditions, everything in that very tall pillar, some good, some bad. And then there's a short pillar of the government that hasn't been able to enforce and protect and make life for these people, shown by the fact of all the tragedies that we have in America that we are going to fix and restore, and even the world itself. And then below, as I said, are the cartels. There's 9 to 10 cartels, billionaire cartels, that cause a lot of trouble. And the worst one is China, that is in our country, and that we need to stop. And then the World Health Control, World Economic Control, and also the lead communists, billionaires, and also the politicians that are secretly trying to control under American control. For example, I talked about the Agenda 21 that A Beautiful Man talks about, and remind us about the Agenda 21, that they want to control the whole America and take away all the middle class and control us. We don't want that. We want a free country the best we can, and put American people first. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I wanted to get this out tonight right away. I noticed their beautiful Vivek put something on Rumble. I wasn't able to watch it. That what we're going to do about America. And we can fix this. And I'm here to help. And I give a lot of ideas and their ideas just seemingly, I don't think it's happenstance. They do use the ideas and exactly what I've been saying. So God bless you, and please look at my books and my Christmas gifts, and all is great for us in America. Have a blessed Christmas coming, and a holiday season, and Hanukkah, and a beautiful season for all, whatever religion you are in America. God bless you. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Luciarden.